not too loud. So I wanted to pose a question, and I am curious if you've got any thoughts on this, what your opinion would be. We were at the lake house this weekend with some friends, and we were discussing, in this case, distilled water and just clean water in general. He's got a neighbor who is really pushing reverse osmosis, which is a decent system. Besides distillation, it's the next to the best system, in my opinion. Um, but he was kind of like more of the opinion, like, why bother? Uh, and the thing he said to me that really stuck out was, man, something's got to get you. And I was like, okay, I've kind of heard that before about different things. And it's usually an easy way out. People who probably don't know a situation or understand something as well as they should, they're a little overwhelmed or don't want to take the time to really dig into it. So he says, why bother? What's the point? Something's got to get you. Which to me, that makes sense if it's a discussion or decision about skydiving or base jumping, right? You jump out of an airplane and like it's either over or it isn't. There's generally not an in between with that. Now, that's not the case with your day-to-day health and the lifestyle decisions and choices that we make all the time. If you think about this, if we're, in the case of water, tens of thousands of chemicals, let alone pathogens. There was one we've talked about before in Texas recently. Um, had an amoeba get into her brain from doing a nasal rinse with tap water. There are still bugs in tap water. There's radioactive elements in tap water. There's metals and chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and pretty much anything that we've made as a human race could be in the water, right? That includes medications. So half the things, if not more, that you're urinating out, you're drinking the half-life of that later. There's nothing that we do municipality-wise that's going to take that out of the water, unfortunately. That being said, if you're sipping on birth control, if you're sipping on antibiotics and pesticides and radioactive elements for your entire life, and then you get pregnant and then you have a baby who is then sipping on those things in the water. Now, hence, we're just, keep in mind, just the water. We're not talking about the food, the formula, the epidural. If you think about this is a whole different philosophical topic, but it kind of feeds into this a little bit because you decide to have a baby. And maybe you weren't very well informed growing up. You probably grew up like I did. Like, we didn't know any better. We drank out of the hose. I had, you know, off-brand Pop-Tarts for breakfast sometimes. If I was lucky, usually it was cereal with milk. But you're just eating sugar and carbs and pesticides over and over and over and over and over. If you're eating this much trash and then you're 25 and you want to have a baby, you go through all those things when you have a baby. The synthetic vitamins that you take, because the doctor told you to. You drink plenty of water that's loaded with tens of thousands of chemicals. You do all the right things. But are you doing the right things? The truth is, we learn more and more as we go. We're not really doing as many right things as we once thought. So top that off with the water. Where does that lead you in 20 or 30 years from now? It's not like you're not going to deal with the consequences of that. When you jump out of an airplane with a parachute on, you're either going to survive, be maimed, or you're going to walk out of it completely fine. There's usually not any maiming in between. It's usually, it doesn't open and you die, it opens and you're fine. Maybe you twist your ankle. Lifestyle choices aren't like that. It's not like you sip on water and usually you're not going to just die right away. Instead, you're going to go into renal failure. You're going to go into kidney failure, which is renal failure. You're going to go into liver failure. Your mitochondria is going to slow down. You're going to start to age faster. What you're doing is putting a bigger burden on your children because they have to take care of you later, sooner. It's more medications, it's more appointments, it's more nursing homes. It's you just not being there for your grandkids. You don't have the energy to keep up with them. So to me, something's got to get you is more like Russian roulette, like spin the cylinder on the revolver. Maybe you live, maybe you don't. It's going to be over fairly quickly. Not when you're drinking water, right? People don't understand that stuff. I've heard that a lot of times too. People will say, you'll die healthy, I'll die happy. Well, maybe, maybe not, man. The person I'm thinking of who said that to me a couple years ago was a relative of mine. He's missing more than half of his teeth. He is younger than me. He looks about 15 years older than I do. Every joint in his body hurts. He's blessed to be alive. He's got tumors in his liver. And that's the thing. Like, are you happy? Really? Like, did your choices in life with the food and the diet and everything, did it really help you? Maybe. I'm not going to judge that, but to me, it's just not like something's got to get you. Well, most of these things that eventually get you don't get you very quickly. It's not like you're getting mauled by a bear. Heck, even half the time, people don't die from that. They just suffer with it for the rest of their life. You wouldn't choose that option, right? But because drinking water with poison in it doesn't hurt up front, like being mauled by a bear, we're okay with it. Once I showed him the distiller and how easy it is, like you just tap it onto your water line and it fills up and does its thing, and you just go grab water out of it. He was like, oh, that's actually not that bad. So it got him thinking a little bit, which is good. But anyway, philosophically, where are you at with this? What do you think? Water aside, where are you at with something's got to get you? So don't try anything, right? Eat the junk, smoke the cigarettes, don't work out, etc. Like, do all those things and pick one not to do, right? Or if your only vice is drinking alcohol, fine. But is that your only vice? Not for most of us. Anyway, I just wanted to see if anybody else had other thoughts. Maybe I'm just weird. Take it easy, guys. Bye.